on Part 3 is on clauses 81 to 110. So the question is that Part 3 stand part. Honourable Leanne Dalziel.
Mr Chairman, I want to raise exactly the same issue that I raised before, but from a slightly different perspective, in that this was not done by way of SOP, but included in the provisions of the original bill, namely the issue of gift duty abolition being included in something called the Taxation, Tax Administration and Remedial Matters Bill. And I want to say that this party will be voting against this part and voting against the legislation as a whole because it contains this offensive provision. When we actually look at what a Tax Administration and Remedial Matters Bill is for, it is not for a matter of significant policy such as the abolition of gift duty. That actually deserves to be part of a policy bill, not something called a Tax Administration Remedial Matters Bill. Now, I believe that it's a fundamental issue in terms of how these things are portrayed to the public when submissions, well, it is misleading advertising. When you actually think of the submissions being called for, the Select Committee puts a notice in the paper and says we're calling for submissions on the Taxation, Tax Administration and Remedial Matters Bill. Do you think anyone on earth would know that that would include a policy matter? Would anyone think that something... Look, when I first arrived in Parliament, some 21 years ago this year, I know I was just a child at the time, but the point that I'm making, when I came here, all sorts of things used to be hidden behind names like this. We had the Social Security Amendment Bill that had benefit cuts. We had the Finance Amendment Bill number 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and again hiding all of these things that didn't actually disclose what the detail of the legislation was all about. And here we have the Taxation, Tax Administration and Remedial Matters Bill getting rid of gift duty, something that surely should be subject to quite a significant policy debate. So I object to the use of a tax administration bill in order to deal with a matter of policy. But let's turn to the matter of policy. Why? When we hear from the government over and over and over again that we should not be dealing with matters that we can't afford in this country, when we're looking at changes to benefits, when we're looking at all sorts of things as far as the government expenditure side goes, and they're reducing our revenue on the other side of the ledger as part of this. It doesn't matter how much we're talking about, what we are talking about, and I mean, just the number of 60, oh sorry, that doesn't mean, like, it's nothing to the National Party. That's nothing to the National Party. That $65 million a year is up for grabs as far as this is concerned. So what we're actually talking about here is the government saying we're going to do away with a form of revenue for the government at a time where we're preaching hardship for every element of expenditure on the other side of the ledger. And I just think that that is outrageous. I think it's important that as a country we actually deal with these issues and we do it on a principle basis. The principle here is that we know that the removal of this particular duty will open up a significant range of tax avoidance opportunities, and we know that that's going to be the case, and the Minister may well shake his head, but I am expecting him to take a call on this and to respond to this particular issue, to tell us why it is that there are no tax avoidance opportunities, I presume that's what he's saying, opened up by the removal of this gift duty. He has already been part of a government decision to benefit the top. How many percentage of income earners have benefited from the tax cuts that we had last year? Overwhelming, the top 10% benefit, and now we have that same group of people benefiting again by changes to our gift duty regime. So abolishing gift duty in the context of the massive tax cuts, unaffordable tax cuts given to the top income earners in New Zealand last year by this government, just strikes me as really just looking after the interests of those at the very top and not really caring about those who have to pay for the increased cost of living without having any commensurate decrease in their amount of taxation. So I think that this is part of a progressive tax system. That's what gift duty is. Its abolition will favour those at the top end of the scale, and I believe that it's important that the government does stand and take a call on this to ensure that there is a proper analysis undertaken of it. Now, I also understand that the members of the Select Committee were deeply concerned about the inexactitude of the regulatory impact analysis process, and they felt that this failed to achieve the requirements of a robust process, and I would like the Minister to respond to that as well.
Peter Dunn.
Mr. Chairman, there are a number of things I should